Hey everyone, Derek here from WayScript. In this one, let's take a look at how we can convert our Python scripts, which have command line arguments, into a WayScript function that uses a form trigger. Let's get started. Getting started, let's take a look at a brief Python example that I have typed up. So what I'm doing here is I have a command line argument that I can execute whenever I run my program through a terminal. So in this case, I'm using a website and I can pass it in my command line to my script and it does some action with that. Let's see how we can take our script that we've already built locally and convert it very simply into a WayScript program. Getting started, if we want to take inputs from a user, we can do that with a form trigger. What this will do is host a URL for us that we can go and collect information from a user. In my example, I'll just leave the defaults and I'll activate this and let's go view it. We see that we can pass something in here that can be returned to us back on the WayScript platform. Once we submit that, we see back here that we have our form struct and we have our inputs. We can use this throughout the rest of our WayScript program. So let's go ahead and pull in a Python step so we can host our Python script. We'll click on Edit Code Mode and I will just go ahead, copy all of my code, and then paste it in. At this point, to get this script working on WayScript, we'll just go ahead and get rid of these few lines. We'll tab these back over. And then instead of our URL coming from a command line input, what we'll do is we'll just drag it in from the struct as input1 and drop it right into our Python editor. And that's all that takes to get your script hosted and working on WayScript. Now, if we were to run this, we get back an error for syntax, but fixing that, now we should get back the same result that we got on the command line, which we do. There's a lot more that we could do with the script if we wanted to. Instead of just the limited functionality of having a Python script locally, we could return different types of content to our user depending on what they submit. So we might want to return a Python variable that says status code 200. So to do that and return that back to the user, what we can do is just create a WayScript variable from our Python one. So we'll say something like string will be equal to status. Now, when we run this again, we'll get a new WayScript variable down here in the left with their status of being 200. We could then return that to the user very simply and have it all hosted for us, so we have very little configuration to do. Sending back that customized response of 200 is just one of many things. We could make very pretty HTML using an HTML module and CSS. We could also just write it to a Google Sheet or an Airtable and a lot more. If you have any questions about this script, please let us know and we'll get back to you. Until next time.